Hello, welcome to the show. What's my pipeline? I'm Paul Mosenson, founder of New Spark Consulting, fractional CMO, lead generation, part-time DJ, whatever, right? And I'm here with a special guest today, Dan Levens, right?
Absolutely, Paul. Nice to be here. Look forward to our conversation.
Yeah, same. Uh, so we're going to talk about video today, and let me explain about video testimonials and why they're powerful. And Dan's done it, and he's got some great insights on this topic. Um, a little bit about Dan right now, and I'm going to turn my head to read it because I don't memorize everything. Okay, so Dan is an accomplished entrepreneur who has founded 11 businesses, educated at top schools in Britain, France, and Singapore before completing an MBA program at Penn State. Hmm. Who else has done that? Singapore to Penn State? I don't know. Anyway, Dan went on to leverage his expertise in technology, business, and marketing while building Philadelphia's first co-working space. Their startups have achieved next-level success through tailored solutions based on distinct market drivers. His focus now is on helping purpose-driven entities make the world a better place. Oh, I'm the,
Thank you
heartstrings.
for that.
That's great. But today we're talking about his company with Share One, right?
Yeah.
Share dot one, Share, not the singer. And we're going to talk about the power of testimonials and why, how important they are, and about your solution. So, how did you, from everything you've done over these past years, how did you like get involved in this space, and why did you think there was a huge need for it?
So, having run incubators and accelerators and co-working facilities, and basically spent pretty much my entire life assisting the underdog create a business, the underdog being seen and going against the grain, because I think there are a lot of things that need to be fixed in this world, right? And just doing the status quo and going with the flow, it basically doesn't lead to true innovation, I don't believe. And being in the space of startups, what I've noticed is that when people fail, when businesses fail, it's not necessarily because the idea was bad. The inspiration behind it, the idea behind it, the sacrifice behind it. I've seen people drain their entire life savings on an idea. And when something fails, it's not necessarily the idea that's bad. It's just their lack of ability to properly communicate the value proposition. So seeing that over and over again, I was like, wow, like if we can figure out a way to really help these people communicate and market better, then we're taking that piece of the equation and then basically fixing it. So that's how I got into marketing. And from many years ago, creating a TED-like stage outside of Philadelphia to get entrepreneurs to really talk about, why they do what they do. What's that human connection that you can build with people? And really getting into the undertones of relationship and trust building with other people. And of course, video is a key way of doing that. So we basically started a video production company many years ago. We had a live stage with live audiences and doing all sorts of different types of productions. And then finally, it's like, okay, in today's world, especially post-pandemic, what are people really looking for, right? They're looking for credibility, and they're looking for trust. Like if I'm going to buy something from you, Paul, like I want to know that, one, I can trust you, two, that you really can answer my questions. So from a perspective of a consumer, like you want to hear from your neighbor, or you want to hear from somebody that you can trust, or somebody that's purchased that, hey, this guy's good, right? Or this product is good. It's really helped me solve a problem. And that's how we got into the video testimonial business. And how do we keep it affordable? How do we keep it streamlined? How do we give the buyers exactly what they're looking for? And a lot of people ask about, hey, written testimonials. Sure. There's a recent news article that came out. Amazon has 10,000 full-time employees today. And all they're doing is tracking down reviews, reading reviews, and tracking down fake testimonials. Chat GPT and all the AI programs have a feature. Hey, you can use me to write a testimonial, right? So the trust in written testimonials isn't quite there. And that's kind of why we really double down and trying to create video testimonials as the true differentiator to really get people to purchase from you and increase your sales.
I'm going to ask you this. I have written testimonials are easy. It's like recommendations on LinkedIn. There's all these, scenarios of that. And a lot of it to me, you've seen all the WordPress widgets left to right, all these kinds of things, right? Sometimes I tell people, now don't take this the wrong way, but sometimes they're there to be seen and not read. You know what I mean? Like, oh, there's testimonials. That means it's like logos on a website, right? Like, oh, I haven't dealt with them in like 10 years or something. Yeah, but put it up there, right? The more the, it's kind of like, a difference. We talk about conversion rate optimization a lot in marketing, right? Anything you can do to persuade someone, that's like the social proof is, these guys have done good work. They have good clients. I'll convert, right? So what we're talking about here is taking it to the next level with video, right? And, because people, like anything on TV, like people are more persuaded, when they hear and see versus read.
I equate it to that's a really good point, right? So we do a lot of work with the health and wellness space. So we've got doctors that we've seen with like 10 scrolling pages of testimonials or written testimonials. To me, it's good to have those. But what it does is it gives the prospect, it says check, right? Okay, this doctor or this person has testimonials, check. I'll move on to the next decision process. How much does it cost or what do I get? So it's just that. It's like it's just the valuation of yes, this person has testimonials. The difference with video testimonials is it's an actual opportunity to get your prospects to immerse themselves into a story of transformation. It's like a window portal into how you do business. So so they're emotionally engaged in the story, as opposed to just saying, yes, this person has testimonials. Like, oh, wow, Mary went through this experience and this is the outcome. Obviously this is not fake because there's a video. And then the ability to craft that testimonial into like a hero's journey or something like that, especially knowing your avatar and knowing some of the objections that you typically face, having these video stories address all those things is super, super powerful. So it's a big difference. Thank you for bringing that up.
Oh yeah. Well, just another sidebar, welcome to sidebar. Anyway, is television. Like I like to buy television for B2C clients, things like that. What do you remember a lot? I mean, other than the creative ones, but if you watch like news networks and direct response, the pharmaceutical, everything you see, like even for hospitals, there's people who are doing testimonials on TV. It's part of their ads, right? Because they're believable, right? And so when you start thinking about that, you think about, well, that makes sense on websites too, because all we're trying to do is validate, the mindset of a person to say, I believe this, I trust them, and I will convert with them.
Yeah, even though most of those TV ads are actors, right? They're not even real
Well,
people.
I don't know, like, the guy who was doing the Predigen ad forgot to show up, so, but, you know, but, that's, they're not as like, Madison Avenue creative, but, if you're in that market, they're powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We have done seen studies on heat maps and conversion rates on websites and email funnels. Anything with a video testimonial has a 62% increase in conversion rate than one that doesn't. That's how powerful they can be.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it depends on the industry and all that.
Right, of course. Well, generally speaking, if we think about website development and said, no, add testimonials, right? And, we kind of look through it and say, like, even if they're written ones, obviously that's easy way out is, Should we mention someone's name? Do we put a statistic in there? Like, what they're great to work with, or whatever it is, right? But what do you feel like is a best formula for testimonials?
So we have, I want to talk about what we call the wall, right? So during a testimonial, yes, it's kind of the hero's journey. So where were you before? What's the transformation? How do you feel today, right? So the wall is during that decision process, before you've pulled the trigger on doing business with this person, what were you thinking, right? So the wall is, well, I don't know if I want to invest this much money with this person. The wall is, I don't know if this person can provide the right solution. I looked at their competitors. I've got all these questions in my mind about whether I should do business with that person. That's where they are. That's the wall. They're faced against this decision, and that's where, when we conduct our video testimonials on behalf of our clients, we want to spend as much time as we want on the wall. The reason being is that the viewer is looking for relatability, right? The viewers, if you can relate to that viewer, then you're more likely to get the sale. So the viewer is right now sitting at the wall, right? That's exactly where they are. So if they can watch a video of somebody that's talking about, hey, oh wow, I can really relate to this person, right? So typically when we do testimonials for clients, we look at their avatars. We determine who their avatars are. We look at their objections. We look at their entire sales process, and we say, how can we mimic the most the most likelihood of somebody being able to see themselves in that video. So if your avatar is female, 45 to 55, blonde hair, pink T-shirt, then we're going to collect a testimonial from exactly that person, right? And we're going to talk about the objections that they typically receive. So by the time they're finished watching that video, they're in complete relatability with that person. All of their issues, everything that they were facing at the wall, has pretty much been addressed, because after this, we spend time on the wall, we talk about the transformation. So thank God I invested $7,000 in this program, because today I can finally do X, Y, Z, right? Talk about the transformation. So that's typically our I think my biggest like takeaway here is spend time on the wall, not necessarily just a transformation. If somebody says, oh yeah, after signing up for this program, I lost 122 pounds. It's great. I feel better now. I can do this. I can do this. I can do that. Well, that may sound good, but if I'm sitting at the wall, I'm thinking, well, can I do that? Right? Is that something I can do? I don't think I can lose 100 pounds or whatever, however much. So we actually have a really cool gift for you guys today. It's a worksheet that guides you through how to ask questions during testimonial. So the first thing I want everybody to really kind of take away is that when you're collecting a testimonial, treat it as a mini docuseries on your business, right? So you get to control the narrative of this testimonial. Don't just say, hey, Paul, was nice doing business with you. I hope you enjoyed our services. And when you get some time, can you leave us a testimonial? I'll leave it up to you, right? Here's a perfect opportunity for you to control the narrative, to ask questions that you can get the sound bites that you really need for the perfect converting testimonial. So take a look at this worksheet, and it'll walk you through 8 different types of questions that you can answer and formulate your own way of creating the story arc that will lead to the best converting testimonials for you guys.
Okay. By the way, since I'm going to simulcast this on podcast, email Dan D, just the letter D, at share.one, O-N-E. I know. D at share.one. Okay. So that's that. You bring up some points though, like testimonials are sort of like web copy in a way. We always talk about you're selling benefits over features, right? And you're selling a solution that makes someone feel good, more efficient, more cost, more productive. That's what they're looking for. Is why they're paying attention in B2B anyway, or anything really. But make my life easier, make my job easier. That's right. And talked about losing weight, whatever it is. You're not saying, hey, the food is great here, or the You could say the service, but at the end of the day is this thing worked. I
Yeah, the
followed the plan.
transformation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or the it really did improve my efficiency at my business, right? Or now we're getting stuff done half the time. It's all those benefits, right? Numbers and things like that. And thank company X for being there with us during the onboarding and getting us through the setup so that we can manage it and we're now a lot more productive. And yeah, it's like any testimonial. I recommend them highly. So, but all those kinds of things, they can be emotional, right? That's the whole idea, right? Is That's why we're doing a video, is to show the emotion and the feel good story, right? Versus reading it in words. Make
Yeah,
sense?
absolutely, absolutely. And your hearing senses are engaged, your color senses, like everything's engaged, right? As much as we can. And it's as I said, it's an opportunity for you to open up this window and let people really like stick their heads in and see it. This is how they do business. I like it. I like the way this feels. I like the way it looks, right? Yeah, absolutely.
So your company and your process here, you know, from the average person says like, "Hey, Joey, since you're a client of ours, you mind doing a testimonial on Zoom for us, right? I'll ask you a few questions, just come up with something." Versus your system, which is high level, quality. But why don't you briefly explain, you know, your process and why it's, you know, unique and more compelling?
Yeah, absolutely. So, there's a Zoom option. There's a lot of platforms out there that kind of automated where they just log on whenever they want, answer some questions, and it's being recorded. Um, we spend, first of all, we spend a lot of time onboarding and understanding your business, right? So understanding what is your sales process like? Who's your avatar, as I mentioned before? What are your typical objections? What product line are you driving to, right? So we really encourage people to have specific testimonials to specific services and products, right? So if I'm in a market for a red hammer to hammer in a blue nail, and I see a testimonial on the red hammer hammering a blue nail, I'm sold, right? So we spend a lot of time understanding the business and sending the different types of testimonials we need to collect. And then we craft the invitation. So a lot of people are maybe they don't want to be on video or they don't have time or what's in it for them. So the invitation is something that we're pretty proud on, and that's really different creative ways of getting your prospects to say yes. One way, for example, would be some kind of a nomination. Just say, hey, we would love to nominate you for Customer of the Month award or the Health Transformation of 2023 or something like some kind of an award, and we want to cover your story. We want to create a video interview to share your transformation story and put it out there. Right? There's all these different creative ways to get people to say yes. And then when we work with a client, we provide them swipe copy on different ways of being able to nominate them. And the best part is once they're nominated, we are actually responsible for chasing them and getting them to making them feel at ease and really courting them to come to do the video testimonial. And we're extremely proud to say that currently we have a 92% conversion rate. So from the time that you identify somebody that you want to collect a video testimonial from, 9 out of 10 will actually show up and do the video testimonial. So that's pretty unheard of, right? Especially a lot of people not being comfortable in video or just not wanting to spend the time. Again, what's in it for them? And then we've done so hundreds and hundreds of videos, so we know the types of questions. So each client will have their own story formula, and the story formula are the exact sound bites that we're looking for. So we have the video. We train our video directors, the interview directors, on the nuances of your business. And when somebody shows up on camera, we tell them, hey, do you have an extra light, or can we move the laptop closer to a window? Tilt your laptop down a little bit, like to basically being a director. And they're constantly listening for the end result. So we're looking for something that's 2 minutes, 3 minutes at the very most. So we know exactly what the end result is. So we'll keep asking the questions until we get exactly what we're looking for, right? The sound bites that we're looking for. So even though the answer to the question was like, "Hey, can you just finish the sentence?" Working with Paul has been right, so that to keep them concise, keep them to the point, so that we can create a 2 to 3 minute interview. Most Zoom testimonials that I've seen online are, potentially 10, 15 minutes long. There's a lot of chit chatting around, and we don't even care about what the host has to say, right? It's really just sharing that exactly what your prospects want to hear in in as short amount of time as possible. And then once we're done with the interview, we potentially speed things up. We cut out the ums, we cut out the dead spaces, we cut out the rambling, move things around to create a beautiful 2 minutes testimonial. And then, of course, we add captions. The majority of people that are watching, that are surfing the web, social media and whatnot, they don't have their sound turned on. So we throw the captions at the bottom so they can read along. And then we cut the testimonials into every format imaginable: 9 by 16, 16 by 9, 1 by 1, so that these are content ready for people that use social media, Instagram,
Right, right, makes sense.
websites. Yeah. So it's a little bit different. It's more professionally done, and they're shorter, and they're honestly quite better. And the majority of people that say, "Oh, I think I can do this myself," they don't end up doing it, right? So we want business owners to focus on what they're really good at, right? So if you're
Right,
good,
right, I get it. I
um,
hear you.
yeah.
Well, you bring up another point actually, because I'm always touting. Now, again, this is not on the script, but I always talk about. I mean, the big three of social proof, or whatever you want to call it, on a say a B2B website is testimonials, logos, and case studies, right? But it sounds like when you ask these questions and everything, you're almost adding or complementing the structure of a case study as well, right? Because a lot of that solution at the bottom, if there's not a results thing, or you like to have them, what the results were, after the solution, right? I mean, a lot of that's testimonial as well, written, but you can almost cross-reference that, I guess, right?
Yes. So we have, for example, a new migraine formulation through a doctor that's hired us to collect testimonials. And the way we're positioning it is more of a case study. So he's in the beta phase right now. So anybody that's participating in his study, they get the free supplements right now, with the understanding that there's going to be an exit interview. So we call those exit interviews almost like a case study, where we talk about, essentially what they went through, and the dosage, or whatever a doctor wants us to talk about. And yes, you're right. It's pretty much everything put into one. Case study can be used kind of loosely here, right? But when people watch and say, "Okay, this person went through this journey. This is what happened, and this is the outcome," that's a pretty good case study. And especially when we use the words like, we want to create a case study, or we want to highlight, your story through a video interview. We're not necessarily asking for a testimonial, right? A lot of people saying testimonial, okay, it's just a different way of phrasing it, and it really gets people more engaged.
How come I don't see as many testimonials as I should on websites? Like, what's the roadblock? What's the issue? Is it just hard to get, and they're afraid to ask clients? I mean, you think they love to give them? It's like referrals. What have you
Um,
seen?
what we've noticed, especially with video, is the business
Yeah.
owners, before they even ask, think that the answer is no. Right. So they think the answer is no. They don't want to bother their clients. They've done enough. That's number one. Number two, which is really, really common, is Paul, I'm really good at what I do, and my work should speak for itself. Right. So we see a lot of that.
Ego. Jeez. Well,
Um,
yeah, but you're not following. I mean, they're not following best practices of what we call conversion optimization. But
Well, I mean, it's ego, but I mean, I've personally done the same thing. Like, I've worked with clients and transformed their business, and at the end, our last call, they're in tears. and I'm so happy, and I'm thinking, okay, this person is going to go off and tell all their friends about me. Wonderful! I can't wait for all this new business. I don't ask for a testimonial, right? It's just like I fall into that trap before. So I don't think people have prioritized the importance of how testimonials can really increase your sales. I think it is the most powerful selling tool that you can use inside of your funnels after a call. We'd love to have a whole bank of different testimonials. So once you're off of a sales call, find that person that will most resonate with the person you just had a sales call with and send them that testimonial, right? It is absolutely one of the most powerful sales and marketing tools that you can use out there. And don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of it, and don't think that people won't do it. And then the way that we ask them, the way that we honor prospects to be on a video interview, we have a supercut of all these people saying how wonderful the interview process was and how great we made them feel. People want to feel heard, right? People want to feel important, and people want to feel like, hey, I might have I might have helped change somebody else's life, right? It gives them kind of a sense of purpose a little bit. So don't be afraid of video testimonials. Don't be afraid of asking for it. You'd be surprised at how willing some people are, especially if you phrase it in a proper way.
Well, the other thing also is, I make people feel guilty, right? Is all right. So if you're in a crowded environment in business and um, you don't have testimonials as well as they should, video, and other competitors do, besides good content on their website, you may not make the short list. How do your salespeople feel? What if that one lead you could have had, you closed it and it was worth $100,000, right? But instead, they weren't convinced enough of your solution. I mean, your web copy might have been okay, but the compellingness of the testimonials was not there, or anything like that. Again, it's all about conversion optimization, but still, that's why it's so important. You think about, oh, here's our website, let's do Google ads or whatever, and But at the end of the day, though, we'll drive traffic, but what's our goal for salespeople in the B2B side or B2C too, if you're in like insurance or education, is um, I'm convinced I'm going to give up my email address now instead of later, because that was a powerful message. I read everything and I got the validation I needed.
And most buyers are going to believe what somebody else says about you versus what you say about you, right?
Right.
So hands down.
Right. So hire me today. No, anyway.
So yeah, absolutely. If you own your own business, you have your own company, and you're not using video testimonials, really, I challenge you to get one by the end of the month. Throw it on your sales page, use it in your funnels. It's going to make a huge difference. And again, treat it
It's
like
huge.
a docuseries on your business. Treat it like you just hired a video crew to come in and create this beautiful documentary that's going to be aired on TV. Right? That's how you should treat the testimonials. It's not a second thought kind of a thing. It is the most powerful thing you can do.
All right. So I appreciate jumping on. If anybody wants to explore this further, they can contact me or Dan directly. D at share.one is his email address. Share.one. You're up leveling your video testimonial process to make them more powerful and increase conversions. And that's the bottom line, right? So
it is. Paul, thank you so much for having me. This was a great discussion. Look forward to many more.
Yep. Thank you. And we'll see everybody next time on What's My Pipeline and our podcast as well. All right. Have a good one.